All right, you did it. You watched the last two videos we put out. You know how to freeze tomatoes, you can can tomatoes, and maybe even know how to dehydrate a few. Now you're standing in the kitchen in the afternoon with stained hands, stained shirt, and a jar lifter you didn't know you owned about 3 weeks ago. You built yourself a little stockpile, and as November will eventually come, you'll be staring at a shelf full of mason jars and a freezer full of 16 mystery bags, hopefully you labeled, with things in them. Now, you're thinking, what next? This is exactly why we're doing this video, because preserving food is only half the work. The other half is actually, using it. Now, if you've never cooked from a pantry you built yourself, it can feel a little different than just opening up a can of store-bought crushed tomatoes. It feels like you may have earned this meal because, well, you did, right? I mean, it's not a secret. You know me, I'm Philip Davis with Ancestry Lands, and this is part 3, the finale of the tomato series. You can go back and watch videos 1 and 2, and today we're going to eventually move it on to talking about recipes, meal ideas, and exactly what to put or how to put everything you preserve to work. Nothing complicated, doesn't require a culinary degree, just real food made simply from things you grew yourself. Now let's go. First, let's talk about actually what you have and what it's good for, because preserved tomatoes are not all the same. Matching the right ones to the right use is the difference between a great meal and a mediocre one that you might end up throwing out. If you froze whole tomatoes, like I told you in the last video, those are your workhorse tomatoes. Once thawed, they're soft and a little watery, which means they're not good for fresh applications. They're perfect for anything cooked. Soups, stews, braised dishes, chili, anything where the tomato is going to simmer down because it's going to become part of something bigger. Think pizza sauce. Store them in a bowl overnight in the fridge, squeeze out the excess water with your hands, and treat it just like a canned whole tomatoes. If you froze tomato puree or a sauce you made in the summer, that's your shortcut ingredient. You might want to do that from the get-go. If it's already cooked, already seasoned, already halfway to the finished dish, that's great. You pull out the bag out of the freezer the night before and thaw it in the refrigerator, and you're about 20 minutes away from dinner. If you canned it, crushed it, or diced it, those are your direct replacement for any recipe calling for a can. A 1 pint jar is roughly equivalent to 14.5 ounce can. 1/4 of a jar is close to 28 ounces. You can swap them anywhere, anytime. Make sure you measure yourself. I may not have that all right. If you dehydrated tomatoes, then they're your floor bombs. Not those kind of bombs, but they actually come in with a kick. A small goes a long way. They add deep, concentrated flavor, almost a sweet tomato flavor for anything you cook them into. Rehydrate with a little liquid as they cook, and boom, you toss it straight into a pot of a soup or pan its pasta without pre-soaking. Now, let's talk about what to make. We're going to go through 5 categories. Inside each one, I'm going to give you simple possible version of what you can actually do with this on a Tuesday night after work without becoming a project. Category 1, pasta sauce. Right now, I know you Italian aficionados. I'm not doing that. We're just talking about making for dish night. We're not talking about who has the best recipe, all right? It's fast, uses a lot of tomatoes, and everybody eats it. Pull out 2 cups of frozen tomato puree or 1/4 a jar of your canned crushed tomatoes that you made. Warm a little olive oil in a pan, 3 to 4 cloves of minced garlic, and cook for about a minute until it smells incredible. Pour in your tomatoes. Add a pinch of salt, sugar if you like it. I know that's sacrilege in some parts of Italy. If your tomatoes are on the acidic side, dried oregano and basil, and fresh if you have it, all right? Let that simmer 15 to 20 minutes. That's your pasta sauce, a base one. If you got a different recipe, please kick rocks, go on another channel. I'm just show you how to make it real quick, all right? Now here's where it gets interesting. Here's a base arrabbiata sauce that you can add red pepper flakes to, and it become I'm going to mess this up. Puttanesca. You throw in olive oils, capers, anchovies, and it becomes a shukasha. If you crack a few eggs directly into the simmering tomatoes and cover the pan for 5 minutes, one base, about 15 different dinners. Category 2 is soups. All right, I'm glad I'm out of the pasta zone because I'm going to get hammered for all the New York people. Tomato soup's probably one of the underrated, most used preserved tomatoes. It's underrated. It's dead simple, right? You freeze it, and one of those foods feels like it's a warm hug when it comes out, warm in the cold weather. You start the same way. Olive, garlic, onion. You add tomatoes, a couple of vegetables, chicken broth, salt, pepper, and some smoked paprika. You simmer for 20 minutes, blend it until smooth, in an immersion blender or regular blender in batches. Stir in a splash of cream or spoon of butter at the end. If you want it rich, want to stretch it further, add a can of white beans for protein. You can make it however you want. You can add leftover cooked pasta, add Parmesan rinds while it simmers. Hey, you make it, you eat it, right? You pull it out before serving. The depth of flavor adds a ridiculous amount for something that costs almost nothing. The key is we're talking about preserving and now what to do with it. All right, this is not a cooking channel. Excuse me. Category 3, chilies and stews. Now, don't sleep on this. Your canned tomatoes and frozen tomatoes that you made make excellent chili. Tomato is not the star in the chili. It's a supporting character, all right? Adds body, acidity, and depth. 1/4 of your can, crushed tomatoes, and as a liquid base for a pot of beef, turkey, vegetables, or veggie chili, all right? You won't notice any difference from the store-bought, except for flavor's a little bit more real and authentic. And also, you can tell people you made the tomatoes yourself, right? You grew them. Same goes for beef stew, chicken stew, any kind of braised meat. Tomatoes break down in a long, slow simmer and almost disappear into the background, making everything around them taste a little bit more complex. It's a quiet ingredient. Nobody notices until it's gone. Now, category 4 is pizza and flatbreads. Oh my goodness, we talked about it. Here it comes. Now, tomatoes as a pizza sauce, right? You're not missing something. You take 1 pint of jar, your crushed tomatoes, pour it a little bit out, the liquid if it's watery, season with garlic powder, oregano, however you do it, barbecue sauce, sugar, you name it, you eat it, right? And you do it on your dough, spread it out, takes 3 minutes, tastes better than anything a jar at a store because your tomatoes actually taste like tomatoes. Same sauce goes on flatbreads, non-bread pizzas, English muffins. You can make those little, put them on bagels to make the little pizza bites. It's yours, all right? Now, we won't get into that. I'm just giving you ideas. Category 5, dehydrated tomatoes. Move, boy. That's where people get surprised. You dehydrate these tomatoes, they become more versatile than you think. They work in places where you would not expect them. Chop them up fine, add them to scrambled eggs, rehydrate as the eggs cook, and it adds a little pop of intense flavor, right? You can sell them. Now you talk about making money. You can add whole pot of minestrone or vegetable soup, and they'll plump back in as they start to simmer. Blend them into a powder and a food processor. Now you got tomato powder. Look, we just talked, now you can sell that too. Right? You can stir it into soup, sauces to thicken them and intensify the flavor without adding more liquid. A teaspoon into salad dressing, and now suddenly you got depth of flavor, right? Dehydrated tomatoes makes also great additions to homemade cut of your bread. Press it into the dough with rosemary, fresh rosemary if you're doing for baking, and you got something that's different. Add a little olive oil, now we're kicking it up a notch. Pick one day out of the month, right? So you want to stock your pantry, and you want it to make it more feel like a hobby rather than a project, right? Pick one day a month, like I just said. It doesn't have to be all day, maybe 2 hours. Make a big batch of something from your preserved tomatoes. Double batch of sauce that fills the freezer. Pot of soup, portion into containers, or pizza sauce ready and to be made. You can have family over, bring out that pizza sauce, start getting the pizzas ready, right? This is the reason why it works, because your future's always busy, you're always tired, and you have slightly less motivated than the present you. You do it in the present to help yourself out for later, because on a Wednesday night at 6:30 when you come home for the evening, you open up that fridge and say, I got tomatoes. Let me get working. It's not cooking, it's taking care of yourself in advance. You plan today for your use for tomorrow, right? And it started with tomatoes you grew in your own yard. That's the end of the tomato trilogy now. I'm glad you watched it. Go back and watch part 1 and part 2 so you can learn the journey on how to grow, store, preserve, can, and now use the tomatoes, right? Part 1, we covered what to do with tomatoes right now. Part 2, we went a little bit depth into canning, freezing, dehydrating. Today, it's all about now bringing it home, all right? And we're going to get into cucumber preservation next. Yes, pickles are involved. And, I'm growing cucumbers on my balcony right now. They're starting to get great. And we're going to get into later on about cover crops and how to get your land and garden ready for winter. Frost catches you off guard. We don't want that, right? If you're not subscribed, give me that HMO special. Help me out. Hit that button so everything we put out, you'll get it. Leave me a comment. I love comments. Help evolve this community with recipes, things that you might do. Attach them below. We love the input, folks. Now, are you going to get dehydrated tomato eggs? Because I am. And that sounded weird, but it's interesting. Tell me below. Read all the comments. Love you guys. Thanks for watching, man. And make sure you share this video. Get this message out. Want your support just as much as your views. I'm Phil Davis, signing off, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Oh yeah, that looks great. That's it, folks. You can go to Ancestry Lands to start owning property today with payments starting at $250 a month, no credit checks, and owning land has never been easier. It's time to build your land portfolio one property at a time. We help you to get dollars from dirt and build generational wealth by owning small plots of affordable vacant land. Contact us to learn more. Oh, and speaking of dollars from dirt, I also wrote a book about investing in land for you readers out there. My book, Getting Dollars from Dirt, A Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing, is on Amazon. The link is in the description section below. Inside, you'll learn simple, easy to read insights that will have you understanding why you should own land today. For more tips and tricks, subscribe for updates, comment below, and let us know what you enjoyed about this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
And remember, like and subscribe.